Okay, so I am filming a second video on the same day, but I am wearing earrings now. So it's a completely different look, it's fine. So I thought I'd come back today and film the book habits tag. I think this is a really fun one just to get a sense of people's different preferences for reading and just the different habits that accumulate when you are a book reader. It's always really interesting to see that we all have the same hobby, but we have different ways of doing it, especially with reading. People have different preferences and it's really interesting to see. So question number 1 is, do you have a certain place at home for reading? Now, like I said in my BookTube newbie tag, I'm not really very good at reading at home. It's something that I have tried to develop whilst we've been on lockdown and something I'm trying to get better at, but I don't really have a set place. I've tried reading from my bed and I don't know, I just can't stay concentrated on a book when I'm sat on my bed. I have, however, in the morning started commandeering the living room downstairs and my little spot on the sofa, so hopefully I can turn that into like my certain place for reading in the future. Question number 2 is bookmark or random piece of paper. Now, when I was younger, it used to be random piece of paper. I used to absolutely not care about whether or not I had a special bookmark to put into all of my books. I'd use train tickets, I would just like rip up a scrap of paper, but nowadays I have become a little bit more precious about it, and I do have like a little collection of bookmarks. I'll go get it, I have my little pot now of different bookmarks, which I mainly get from the bookshops. My local independent bookshop, the Peace Hall, have their own bookmark, which I love. I've started collecting those. Get loads from Book Depository. I have this Normal People one, which is quite topical at the moment. And yeah, whenever I get a new book, I pick out a special bookmark. So yeah, I've become much more into bookmarks. Number 3 is, can you just stop reading, or do you have to stop after a chapter or a certain number of pages? For me personally, I can just stop wherever. You know, it's always nicer if you can stop at the end of a page or at the end of a chapter, but no, I don't have a problem. I can always get back into it at the end. I know for some people they find it a little bit harder, but for me personally, especially like if I'm on a train journey or a bus journey, I always want to soak up as much reading time as possible. So if I was waiting to get to the end of the chapter, or if I tried to stop reading too early because I knew that I was going to have to start a new chapter, I just wouldn't enjoy it as much. Question number 4 is, do you eat or drink while reading? Now, I find it quite hard to eat and drink whilst reading at the same time. I always have to do one or the other. I do sometimes, especially if I'm eating on my own, I will have an audiobook in, like if I'm just in a cafe on my own. But no, a bit too much multitasking for me. And whilst I don't really care about like cracking spines or dog-earing pages and things like that, I do kind of care about having stains in my books. Question number 5 is, music or TV while reading? It depends, it really depends. If it's something that I don't care about that's on TV, then I can just tune it out. And like at work, they have music playing and I find it quite easy to tune that out. But no, if it's music or TV that I like, I will just get distracted. I do find it much easier to listen to music if it doesn't have words in, if there are no lyrics. So like instrumental music, I'll sometimes put on like a classical playlist on Spotify, or there's film soundtracks. I really enjoy doing that actually. But generally, if it's music or TV that I enjoy, then no, I can't do it. Number 6 is, one book at a time or several at once? So I always have an audiobook on the go, regardless of whether I've got a physical book as well. If I'm going to be doing multiple physical books at once, it'll probably be like a non-fiction and a fiction, or poetry and a bigger book. So yeah, there's always more than one book technically on a go if you include audiobooks. But if it is physical books, I tend to need to have a little bit of something just to distinguish it between. Question number 7, reading at home or everywhere? Like I've said before, it is everywhere. I do like to read whenever I'm out and about, whenever I've got the time to, on public transport, and I've had to get better at reading at home. But no, I don't have a problem reading anywhere. I think if anything, I tend to have more of an issue with people telling me that I shouldn't be reading in certain places. Especially my mum, when we're out at a restaurant. Apparently it's rude to read in restaurants. Question number 8 is, reading out loud or silently in your head? Yeah, I've never been one for reading out loud aside from in school. So yeah, just silently in my head personally. Question number 9 is, do you read ahead or even skip pages? I mean, the correct answer would probably be to say, no, of course, I've never skipped pages in a book, but if a book's not doing it for me, I don't have an issue with reading quickly or skipping pages to get to the good stuff. I don't know, I just feel like life's a bit too short if you're not enjoying a book, but you think you might like the ending, then I don't have an issue with skipping a little bit, but I try not to do it too much. Question number 10 is breaking the spine or keeping it like new. I know this is killing some people. No, I don't have an issue with breaking spines. I find it really hard. Like, I don't understand how you're meant to read a book without breaking the spine. Like, you'd have to read it like that, and I don't understand that. So yeah, so for me personally, I'm quite happy breaking spines. It's violent, but it's got to be done. Number 11 is, do you write in your books? Personally, I don't typically write in my books, not for reasons of keeping it pristine. I just often forget to have a pen or pencil with me. I do wish I did write more in my books. Anything academic I always used to write in. But no, in fiction, I generally don't. It's more because I've forgotten to rather than because I have any sort of issue. Me personally, I really love the idea of annotating books because I love the idea that in decades from now, someone will pick up your book, like a child or grandchild might pick up your book and see all of the thoughts that you had, all of the different ideas that that book inspired in you. But I don't currently do that, and I feel like to make it worth it, I would have to go back through all of my books and make notes in it, and I just don't think I've got the time to do that, and I want to read new things. So when I'm really, really inspired to write in a book, then I will, but I often just forget to do it, unfortunately. Alright, so that was all 11 questions in the book habits tag, and that was really, really fun to do. Do let me know in the comment section if you are absolutely appalled and horrified by the fact that I break the spines of my books or dog ear pages, or any other discussion points. Do let me know, and it's been nice to talk to you, and hope to see you soon. Thanks, bye.